Right. So tonight we go through a number of questions. Right, let's start with some simple questions. For walking meditation, I saw yogis lifted their legs really high, which is like pedal a bike. Could you show us how to do walking meditation? No, when we do this walking meditation, and the body, the movements has to be in a way natural. Natural in the sense that it is not too high. It is only about a few inches above the ground, especially when you are lifting. And also especially when you are moving apart, is maybe just about 1 feet apart. Yeah. So this is about the height and also the length of this one. I don't have to show you because each and every one of us got slightly different way. There's no right way. Right way is, are you mindful? Now, sometimes it may be slightly higher a little bit than usual, okay, but not until knee high. Some people I've seen also in the past, they do walking meditation when they start, the walking, they have to do a kickback first. Then only they swing the leg out and then pop. like a horse, they have to kick a bit. And then you just go forward. What's wrong? And I've seen strange yogis also. When they do walking meditation, the leg is extending such a length, as if like they are doing a stretching. I mean, it's not necessary to do all those ways. So it's just about a few inches high, 2 or 3 inches high above, and then just about 1 feet apart. So that is about the height. Sitting meditation. During sitting meditation, it seems that I can focus for only about 35 minutes. The rest is struggling. The mind is all over. Is there any advice? You mentioned about noting the thoughts or restlessness, labeling. Yes, I did mention about noting the thoughts, but especially when you are beginning to do this vipassana meditation, it is not easy for us to sit for 1 hour immediately, even sometimes within like a week or so. Every one of us, when we begin also, we start off with like 20 minutes you could sit, half an hour you could sit. After that, it's always struggling. Sometimes it takes about a few retreats, 1 or 2 retreats before you can actually hit the 1 hour mark. So don't be impatient. It's every one of us when we start off is all struggling. But you have to determine and you have to push the mind to go forward until 1 hour. And why 1 hour and why not 2 hours and why not 3 hours? 1 hour, it's usually the general rule of sitting. Neither you are sitting too much or too little. Because if you in a retreat, if you sit not enough, especially when you have developed sudden degree of development, the mind is not able to dwell into the objects in a deeper aspect, truly noticing what is going on with the rising and falling sensation or the pain or the thoughts. So it needs some time to be inside there. But then you cannot sit for too much. Say for example like 2 hours or even 1.5 hours or 3 hours. As I'm talking about during a retreat, not at home. During in a retreat. If you sit during in a retreat for too long, then another problem will arise. That means your mental energy cannot keep up with the length of the sitting. You have the energy, you have the clarity for maybe for 1 hour or a little bit more, 1 hour, 15 minutes. Then if you keep pushing, and that time your energy has dropped, and you don't realize that your energy has dropped. Usually when the energy drop, during in the sitting, the mind becomes like, the objects becomes fading, it's like misty, foggy, not clear, or the meditation is just very calm, peaceful, and then you feel that you could sit long just because you want to sit long, because you want to hit your record. You want to break your own record, your personal record, So it is not about that. It's not about the length of time. It's about the quality of the noting. Yeah? So the quality of the noting, it needs to have a bit of time, but it cannot do too much, especially when you are in the retreat. So when the energy drop, then we change the posture into the walking. We build up again through the walking. We accumulate it sufficiently. Then after that, we go into the sitting again. Then the mind peaks again to its optimum level. So this is how we develop this sitting meditation. So don't be impatient. Usually, from what we see from over here in this part of the world here, US, I've done a number of retreats here. Usually we see yogis, like if they let's say they start from 0. It takes them maybe about 10 days before you could actually able to sit generally. Last time in this place we have like a 2 weeks retreat. Some yogis come in for 10 days, some come in for 2 weeks. And then when they hit the 7th day, 8th day, then that time they can hit like 45 minutes. After 10 days or 2 weeks, then they actually could do for 1 hour. So it takes time. It doesn't mean that you come in for one retreat 7 days, then everything is just like that. You see everybody, wow, could sit 1 hour. How can I cannot sit 1 hour? They have been doing how many retreats over here or other places? So they could sit. So don't worry about it too much. Make sure that each retreat you come in, if you come in, then you have to really pay attention. You have to do the walking meditation. Especially on the third phase, you have to do it thoroughly. You have to do it precisely. You have to do it in a detailed manner. Then only the sitting will start to improve in terms of the noticing of what is going on, and also in terms of the time, the length of the sitting. So this is something that you have to keep in mind. Now, what is the proper Buddhist meditation posture? Meditation posture, there are 4 postures. The day we mentioned about there's standing, sitting, walking, and the lying down. These 4 major postures. Now here when we do over here, right now, usually there are 2 postures like walking and sitting. Occasionally, we can also do standing meditation in the sense of, you can stand for a bit longer period of time, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Then you have to note the standing posture. You have to note from the head to the bottom, to the feet, to the sole. Then you scan it up again. Or sometimes rising, falling may arise. Sometimes sensation of pulling, tightening of the body. You can stand there and notice this phenomena. Or sometimes the thoughts come in while the walking. Then you can stop for a while, noticing the thinking, planning, and then you can stand there for a while and labeling on the thoughts of the planning or the memories and so on. So these are the generally the three major walk posture that we do. Yeah? And the lying down, no. But there are places, there are people actually do it. Yeah? There are other retreats other teachers that they come here, they also do this lying down meditation. When they do it, 50% of them, and they are snoring also, of course. Yeah. Not only here, back in Malaysia, back in other places also, I've seen yogis do this lying down meditation. Yeah. So not really necessary. And also in the sitting posture, yeah, usually we do cross-legged. It is good for long-term practice. The energy is easier for the energy to arise, mental energy to arise. Because sitting cross-legged, there's some degree of challenge, and when there's a challenge there, like a pain, pulling, then the mind, because it has a clear object, and your mind is strong enough to pay attention to this pain and all these other objects, then it makes the mindfulness stronger. It makes the mind more powerful in that way. You sit on a chair, you sit on a bench. Yes, you could sit 1 hour, but the challenge is not there. When it's not being challenged, then mindfulness also is not so, it's there, but not that strong. The stronger the object, the clearer the object, when you put the attention there, you put your mind there, then the result is the mindfulness gets stronger. If the object is mild, you put the attention there, then the mindfulness is also mild. Yeah? Yeah. So this is usually how the sitting. And also in the sitting, even when you do cross-legged, there's no special way. There are places I've heard, that they insist that the yogis must do full lotus. You have to squeeze the whole leg on the thigh and then the other leg on the thigh. Can y'all do that? Can y'all do that? They insist that only with that way of sitting, your meditation will go sky high. And I've heard these type of things every now and then. They love to them, meditation, it's very much on the body, not really on the object, not really internally noticing what is going on. So when they do this meditation, they do cross-legged, but they always check the body. Throughout the whole sitting, they must check the body, whether the body is straight or not. It must always be straight. No, in Vipassana meditation it's not necessary, because sometimes it bends a bit, hunch a bit slightly. It does not really matter as long as the object are still clear. But there are places they insist that your back must be straight. They kind of like put a stick behind you, so that your back is totally like parallel to the stick or parallel to the wall. Must be completely there. That is not the way. And that is also not how the body is actually going through when actually you are meditating. So sometimes when you are meditating, when you are doing sitting, the body may hunch a little bit, bend a little bit, and it's perfectly okay. And then on other times also, sometimes the teachers, they want the yogi to be smiling during sitting. Because every yogi come in like, like when they go through your pain, your face is like so suffering, and then no smiling and all that. And then here they are given instruction that the yogi must keep smiling during sitting, smile. So instead of noticing what is going on with the object or whatever, then the yogi will keep on noticing whether am I smiling or not? Am I smiling? Is my body straight? Is my body okay? Then you waste a lot of time and you become very self-conscious. Even though with your eyes closed, you're afraid that when people look at you, others look at you, you're not smiling, you know. So put it all this thing aside, you know. This is very, very modern, current type of how in the nowadays when instruction is given to the meditation. In the suttas, there's not like that. We never heard the Buddha says you must smile during in your sitting. No, it says cross-legged. Yes, cross-legged. It says go to a forest, go to an empty place, go to away from people to do your meditation. Yes, the Buddha did mention all these things, but not in this sense, not in this way of trying to smile and trying to keep the external body right, you know. Because sometimes there are yogis, they want to keep it upright, you know, they want to keep the body straight all the time. Because, you know, sometimes if they were to nodding a little bit, you know, then you sit, you're nodding, and then they see that, oh, not good. I must example to everybody else, so I must sit straight, you know. So you sit straight, even the sleepiness comes in, you just every time the sleepiness comes in, it pulls the body, you keep the body very stiff. So that means, in other words, you are just suppressing the whole sleepiness, the drowsiness, and so on, in a way that the back of the mind, you dislike what is going on. And at the same time, you try to overcome your sleepiness with that sense of the strong self, you know. I don't want this. Yeah. And we don't really realize that what is truly going on inside there. So we don't even suppress the drowsiness. We begin to see the drowsiness as they are, yeah? Not suppressing them. All right, next question. If a person or if one is so inclined, what is the process for giving up lay life to practice as an ordained monk or nun? Anybody? So, if one soul is inclined, if you have the heart to become a monk or a nun, yeah. So, what is the process to what to give up? You have to give up everything. No, in a Theravada sense, you have to give up everything. In a Mahayana sense, also you have to give up everything. You have to give up family. You have to give up your job. You have to give up your finances. You have to give up everything. Yeah, you come in, you give. If in a way you change a new life, a different form of life, externally at least, you know, on the monks or on the nun. Yeah, then here is that when you become a monk or become a nun, now becoming a nun or becoming a monk or a nun, this is where when the Buddha start off the Sangha, you know, when they take off the Sangha, the reason is that when they start off the Sangha, is that for the person to be free from all the worldly duties. That means you don't have to go and find a living. You don't have to go and earn a living. You don't have to have worry about a shelter, clothing, medication, or you know, and everything else. You don't have to worry about all these things. All these things in a way that the devotees, the faithful devotees, will do the support for you. and then will support you in all this manner. So therefore, when the Sangha is created, what is here is that it gives you time. Time. All of us have limited time in this world. So it's not just about anything. You're free from all these duties, you're free from families, you're free from everything, then you have the time. So what are you going to do with the time that is in your hands right now? How are you going to look into your whole life? What are you going to fill up with this time when you do not have all these things? When you don't have all the usual duties of a family life, or even what are you going to do with this time? So some people, they want to develop some degree of chanting. They want to learn the Dhamma. They want to do some service work. Well and good. There are also those who fill up the time with meditation and so on. So there are various things that one can do. You see, becoming a monk or becoming a nun does not mean that everybody put the time into mental development. It's not that. Even though you come into the Theravada world too, you go to the Thailand, you go to Myanmar, you go to these places, not every monk is on the meditation or on the on a lot of time that they put into meditation. No, they don't do that. Most of the time, monks or nuns, they put the time in the study. A lot of time they study. I mean, it's still good, not to say it's bad, but the thing is that they put so much time on the study, sometimes the meditation the mental development is neglected. So for me, when when becoming a monk, then when the time is there, then so what is the most difficult thing to do in Buddhism? And what is the most, when you do it, it gives rise to the most, to the best result. Then with that understanding, you put the time, you put the effort, you put the time, you put the development into getting the best result. That what the Buddha mentioned. So here, in the development of this, in the highest, this one is finally the ending of cycle of birth and rebirth. So are the monks or the nuns truly practice towards that particular goal? Yeah. So it all depends on what you want to do. Yeah. So this is one thing, about when you give up to practice as a monk, as an ordained monk and nun. For me now, since our time is limited, you better do something really good for yourself. When you do it for yourself, first, then after that, when your mind is clear, then you can guide others in a better position, in a better way, in a more effective way, in a more clearer, in the right way actually, and that is important. If you are blind, then you're going to lead others into. I've seen that too in the world of monks and nuns. All right. Next question. What would be what would be a good continuing practice outside the retreat when you have a busy schedule? What would be good to do? How to continue this practice outside the retreat when you have a busy schedule? All right. So when we go back, what to do? Of course, you cannot do what we are doing over here. Here is a full-time retreat. You walk, sit, and that's about it, throughout the day. And when you are at home, now, if you want to do this practice, what I know is that if you were to do it alone, I'll give you 1 or 2 weeks, you'll give up already. You'll give up. Because you need actually people. You need to have the right people who do the same practice, and you encourage each other. The Buddha says this one as a kalyana mitta. Kalyana mitta in Pali, it means spiritual friendship. Spiritual friendship means when you want to walk this path, you must have people to support you, or people to guide you, or the right people to guide you. Then with this, as you support on each other, then we do this practice. To do it alone sometimes is difficult. If let's say this whole hall, we give you everything, but you are alone meditating, you will follow the schedule? No, you will follow your own desire. But when everybody is meditating, time's up, sit, then you sit, walk, then you walk, sit, then you sit. But if you are alone, you kind of like, then after some days, you just give up on the meditation. Even though we give you the best. So when you go back to, if possible, if there is an opportunity, if the places you have a group of people doing this type of meditation, then if like once a week you can come together, meditate together, that will be wonderful. Back in Malaysia, back in Penang where I'm staying, that the devotees also sometimes they stay quite not too far from our place. Then when every Wednesday night they come in to sit together, whether myself or other monks, whether they are there or not there, they will come on Wednesday night, to practice, to come together, to sit together. And that is important, to give you the momentum, to give you the motivation. So you find a place, or you find a group of people that will encourage you to do this. That is one good thing. And then you want to continue this practice. Also, you must also plan out your calendar. And you really want to do this practice, you have to plan out that where is the next retreat that you want to go, and you have to block the time. Because if you don't block the time, that particular time, sometimes you have a lot of things on top of it. You want to go here, you want to do other things, you have other projects, and then you're not going to be able to do this meditation. Because those other things you feel that is more important than the meditation. So if you really want to do this meditation, you need to block the time. And you have to spend that particular time for that mental development, at least a year, once or twice. And also, if you want to do a retreat, maybe it will take like 7 days, 10 days would be good. 10 days would be a bit longer, like 2 weeks would be good also if you have some degree of meditation. So 7 days or 10 days per meditation would be better. Don't go to a retreat. No, I wouldn't say won't go, but if you like a retreat just to go in for 3 days retreat, 2 days retreat, 1 day, 3 or 4 days retreat, you're not going to get any much clarity. What do you get? You get sleepiness. You get a lot of thinking. And then every time if you go for 3 or 4 days, every retreat is going to be like that. And then you say, I've been practicing for so long. Every time I go retreat, it's always sleepy, it's always drowsy. Because you always go for 3 or 4 days retreat. More than that, kind of like the mind is not confident. Yeah? So, and also, if you have time per day, try to meditate a little bit. It doesn't have to need to be 1 hour. Maybe if you have time like half an hour, you sit for half an hour. Or if you are a place in your house or in your your own organization, if you are a space where you can do walking meditation a little bit, that will also be good. Yeah. and sometimes if you have time a bit longer, sometimes you're quite free, you want to sit for 1 hour, go ahead, no problem. If you want to sit for 1.5 hours, perfectly fine, because you're not in a retreat. Once in a while, if at home, if you have a place to do some walking meditation, then you can do a bit of walking meditation before you do sitting. Yeah? But then, if you were to walk so slow and the family were to look at you, no, he come back from a retreat and suddenly he walks so slow. What's wrong with him? Or what's wrong with her? People may not understand what you're going through. So something like that, it may look a bit strange for a lot of people, because normally people don't walk so slowly. It's only when you want to gain certain degree of mindfulness and concentration, then we go down, we go slow. But for most people, they don't understand this nature. So perhaps sometimes you may need to explain to the people around you what you are doing. If not, that they think that there's something wrong with you. So you try that. So if at home, in your at home, if you were to know like other forms of meditation, say for example like metta meditation, if you have done before, what you can do also, you can incorporate into your everyday practice also. Say for example, maybe for 2 weeks or 1 month, you only completely practice metta meditation, loving kindness meditation. Then after 1 month, you put it aside, then you change to Vipassana meditation for 1 month. Then after that, you can change back to sit to metta meditation. Then you can do to and fro, or you can do 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Also, it's very helpful actually. If you know how to do those meditation. So you try to read also a little bit on this Vipassana meditation, especially on this method, because in the world right now, there are so many different types of Vipassana meditation. This type of method is called the Mahasi method. The Mahasi method, where you have to truly pay attention. So there are books perhaps, and also perhaps online. You can get a lot of you can download a lot of these free books on this form of meditation. And so these are the things that perhaps it'd be helpful for you. Now, in everyday life also, when you're not meditating in your busy schedule in the office or at work, you can also try to be mindful of what you are doing. You don't have to be all the time get glued into the screen on your computer or on something that you have to do. But once in a while we are working, take a break, and then instead of keep going, stop for a while, bring the attention back to the body. Bring the attention back to the body. Even though you sit there, you just scan the body for a while. Just scan it through, just be present. And then after that, you carry on to do whatever you're doing. Then after half an hour later, stop for a while, breathe in, breathe out, or rising, falling, just come back to the body. Just come back to the body at least for 1 minute or so. Not asking much, but if you could do that a few times per day, a number of times per day, and you could do it like consistently for let's say a month or 2 or 3, you slowly begin to see the result. The result in the sense that whenever you need to stop the thinking, you're actually able to just put everything aside, come back to the body for a while. Yeah? You can able to stop that overthinking sometimes. Just take a break, back again to the what is going on, and then that it helps to reduce the daily stress, mental stress especially. Yeah. Until if not, sometimes we don't even know how to stop that overthinking. Many times when I'm in retreats, nowadays I've seen a lot of people mentally overstressed, and the stress is not just from the work; it's because of that mind cannot stop. The moment it wakes up, or the mind is carried on, cannot sleep at night, have to take some medication in order for you to go into to sleep. So these things is happening more and more nowadays, and we see that quite often, yogis, because daily habit is not there. The daily habit is that they keep wanting to think, keep planning, keep organizing, keep expecting, keep anticipating everything. There's no break at all. So this mindfulness, even you bring the mind back again just for 1 minute and just breathe, or just notice the body sensation, or just notice the rising and falling, it really helps to cool the mind down. It really helps that to stop the thinking, at least for a minute. You won't see the effect first few times, but you have to have faith, confidence, just to push it through for a longer period of time, maybe up to 3 months or so. Then you'll see the effect there. This is what we do as a monk. Sometimes we have to rush to do certain things, but every now and then we bring the mind back again to whatever that we are doing. Just like simple washing a hand, opening a door, like what we taught you over here. This is we have been doing it again and again, just to bring the mind back to the present, and it's wonderful. So this is something that you can do. So next time, if you do that, you come back to this type of retreat, you find that the mind, the thinking mind, is easier for it to stop the thinking mind. Then the time when the thinking mind stop, then they have more chances for the mindfulness to arise. You have the better condition for the mindfulness to arise instead of going into so much thinking. So this is something that you can do at home. All right. Can you expand a little on the differences between Vipassana meditation and other major forms of meditation which leads to enlightenment, Nibbana, or Buddhahood? All right. Now, Vipassana meditation, although we say Vipassana meditation, but there are different methods of how this way of Vipassana meditation is being practiced. From what I know, this walking sitting is one of the most difficult ones in the world. If you can survive 7 days, I think you can survive many other forms of meditation retreat. Now, Vipassana meditation, the goal of this Vipassana meditation is finally that enlightenment. Finally the realization of Nibbana, and also the eradication of all forms of defilements. Vipassana, Satipatthana do that. Its goal is this. Now, other meditation, like samatha meditation, for example, like metta meditation, in breath out breath meditation. For mostly people do this in breath out breath on a samatha manner. There are also like 32 parts of the body meditation. Now, usually this type of meditation, they falls under samatha practices. Now, samatha development, the goal is not enlightenment. The goal is to able to attain absorption, jhana. Now, absorption here, although they are very concentrated, very wholesome state of mind, the resultant is that if you die with this jhana, then you can reborn in the Brahma, in a much higher realm of existence for a long period of time. But unfortunately, you are still in the cycle of birth and rebirth. Now, only vipassana gives rise to enlightenment, to get out of this cycle of birth and rebirth. Now, samatha meditation are also being taught in many ways, because this samatha meditation can be very supportive for the vipassana development. They're supportive in the sense that, for example, if you're a person with a lot of anger issue, then perhaps metta meditation will be good to prescribe in the beginning before you do vipassana. Then that will be helpful. Also, like for example, you have a lot of this overwhelming type of thinking and so on. Sometimes this in breath out breath also can be very helpful. But the problem is that when you're able to achieve this in breath out breath, and then everything gets calm and pleasant, usually the yogis don't want to change, because when you change to vipassana, you see all the pain and tension and tightness and dukkha and so on. In the samatha, in the in breath out breath, everything is so nice, quiet, and here you are, it's so difficult. Because here one of the problem is that when they do not have good understanding of the differences of meditation, then usually yogi want to stick with anything that is calm and pleasant and nice and so on. You don't want to see all the dukkha. If you don't understand if you don't understand deeply on the Dhamma. So in the Dhamma, in the real Dhamma, you have to face dukkha in its full capacity. You cannot just even pick also and then I don't want to see anymore. Yeah? Cannot. Yeah. So there are a lot of differences. Of course, it takes a talk or two, just to talk about the differences of this meditation. Since I'm as a monk, I got so much time in my hand. I don't just only practice vipassana, but I also at times also I practice samatha meditation in different forms of samatha meditation. But when I teach, usually I teach vipassana. Unless you want to become a monk and nun, I can teach you more. But you don't even have time. 7 days, you want to quickly go back and work and earn a living. There are so many things inside the meditation that it develops different areas of the mind. Metta, it develops that loving kindness is usually one area which vipassana doesn't develop that clearly. You develop like compassion meditation, it develops like compassion, but during the vipassana, it does not develop in that particular area. So different areas can be very helpful for the overall development of the mind. All right. Another thing. Let's see. Another question. If someone didn't have the right view does he or she still can do vipassana meditation? If someone don't have the right view, does she can do the vipassana meditation? Not that you cannot do, but you cannot last. You can do vipassana meditation even you have some degree of wrong view. But usually when you have all kinds of views, all kinds of views in the sense that you have other forms of view regarding about, say for example, you die and that's about it, and you don't believe in cause and effect, you don't see. Then when you don't have that, but those right view, you're going to have a very reluctant idea about meditation. You don't even want to consider meditation also, because that doesn't fall with the view that you may have. So firstly, you may not want to come in to the retreat or to the meditation to do vipassana. Now, if you have the right view and somehow you come to do vipassana meditation, then your vipassana meditation will not go very far, and also you will not go very deep. Because as you go deeper, it's going to change your view automatically. By experience, by seeing what is truly happening there, when you experience the nature of the mind and body, then whatever view that you are holding on is going to be, it's going to shake your fundamentals, your view that you have. Then if you hold on it very strong on your own view, then whatever that is happening there, you don't want to see it. You don't want to go on anymore, because it does not go accordance to what you think is right. Even though what you experience now without all the thinking, by just observing, by just noticing, you can't even take it also. So you were not able to go far, and you were not able to go deep. One of the things is that now we talk about intention and the process that is going through. That when you see this intention in a lot of ways, in the many multiple ways, that even though I mentioned about when you're stretching your arms, there's so many intention is happening there. Here, when you notice this thing as it happened, then one of the views at that moment of time, you abandon the creator view, the view that there is a creator, there is a God, there is a thing that is actually making my hand move. But right now, you see it that it's not a creator. It's just the mind and the body is processing on they're interacting on each other right now. It's no third party involved. There's no other beings involved. There's no other whatever source of external beings, God or whatever it is being involved in just the movement of the arms. So here the yogi over here right now, then when that view is being challenged, then it's going to be very difficult for the yogis to really, whether it's going to give up on the God view or creator view, or whether it's going to observe what is truly going on right now and here. And this is just the start, And many things that you're going to experience, you're going to see, that it's going to be very different from the worldly views. So, this is how Vipassana, it shows the yogi, the true nature of things as they really are. Not by believing, not by something that is in the book. It's truly, you have to experience it. Yeah? So, as I said again here, since the question you asked, as I said, you're not going to go far and you're not going to go deep if you're still holding on to a certain wrong views. Yeah? Okay. All right. Question. After Nibbana, how do the body and mind function operate independently? What happens to the mind after the body dies? Where does it go into extinction? As I said, one question mark. There's 3 question or 4 question mark. Now, after you realize Nibbana, what do? You think you become suddenly no need to eat, no need to sleep, no need to do anything, no need to go toilet. You're still a human. It's just only experience. And experience of Nibbana, although you experience it as a cessation, it's a very deep sense of also a concentration. You're able to notice this Nibbana as all this cycle, all this arising and passing away goes into a stop. A cessation, ceasing. But it doesn't last long. It doesn't last long. You have to come out from it. You have to emerge from it. The Buddha also, when he experienced Nibbana, it's not like all the time he's high in Nibbana. He experienced it when he's meditating. He experienced it when he comes out. When he do all other things, he needs to eat also. He needs to go toilet also. He needs to talk. He needs to do everything. He is not inside Nibbana. So there's no like special suddenly Nibbana everything. You don't come back to the... No, when we say we don't come back to a cycle of birth and rebirth, yes, that is in the future. But while you're still a human, you still need to eat. You still need to sleep. You don't even know the person is enlightened too. It doesn't mean suddenly like a halo on the top there and the 2 wings come out. Yeah? there's no... You don't even see the features where the person is enlightened. You don't even know. Everything is just very internal. So, Nibbana is a state where you realize it. Again, when we say realization of Nibbana, it's not something that is created or something that is coming or going. It is that something that you realize it. You're aware of it, then you come out from it, then you have to go on living. So, what happened to the body dies and everything? This extinction, the word extinction here is just like fire. When you let's say you strike a match, fire arises. The fire arises because the conditions are there. But when one of the conditions is not there, let's say you burn until the stick finish burning, the fire goes into extinction. Then you ask, where did the fire go? Wrong question, isn't it? It's a wrong question because the condition is no more there for the fire to be there. So too the birth and rebirth also the same thing. When you remove the greed, hatred, delusion, you remove the condition. Then when you remove that, then the birth and rebirth, the arising and passing away, the creation of this mind and body cannot take place anymore. So in other words, everything goes into extinction. That is what it meant here. Simple meaning. Deep, simple yet deep. So if you were to go back and you think about Nibbana, you're gonna go crazy actually. So don't worry about it. It's all about extinction in that sense. Now, okay. Now this one is I won't able to answer you. Even though if I know, I won't answer you. Have you seen a good number of lay people complete the full path, reaching Nibbana through a 3 months Vipassana retreat? Oh, so you want to be a hero within a 3 months retreat, from a in order to reach Nibbana in 3 months retreat? I wouldn't say yes or no, you know. You don't have to worry about whether it's 3 months. Even sometimes there are people within 2 weeks, not from zero, but they have been done for a number of retreats. Yes, there are people who that. Yes, there are people who meditate longer, 20 years or so, reaching nothing, not very far also. There are people who within a short period of time, maybe a few years of meditation, within a few months of meditation, there are people who are able to do that. So you ask me whether I've seen it before. Don't worry about it. You know, you have to see it for yourself. Don't ask me. Yeah. Oh, another question, also difficult to answer you. Can you and how do you teach 7-year-old kids to be mindful, to start doing mindfulness meditation? Teaching y'all is already stressful. Teaching 7-year-old, I'll go into my coffin faster. But there are people, there are places actually, they do actually teach young kids, children, 7 years old up to, and sometimes I think also in US also, there are certain schools incorporate some mindfulness into their program. I've read before in the past, that there are schools who have a really terrible morality issue, or all these delinquents. Then they are like 40 to 50% of the class is always like empty. You know, they don't come into class, and then in a difficult schools, you know, and then they do an experiment to bring in mindfulness meditation, not vipassana, but just mindfulness. Let the children, in the beginning of the day, before they start, for about 3 months or 4 months or 1 year, they do in breath, out breath, just to teach the children to come back, sit down, follow in breath, out breath. Thoughts that comes in, let it go, feel the in breath, out breath. And they do the experiment, I think, for a year. The next year, the attendance starts go up to 80-90%. And the result is significant. Yeah. The result is significant. We've seen that this mindfulness is being not just only for children, but also it goes into people with PTSD, ADHD, and all kinds of mind or physical issues. Then it helps the mind to able to accept. It helps the mind to calm down, and then it gives rise to good result. I wouldn't able to say promise you 100% everything is going to be fine, but at least it reduces a lot of mental, psychological problems, and also some physiological problems also. But for kids, for children, actually, if you have the time, just help them just to bring the mind back to the present moment. You will see the result again after a few months later. You won't see the result immediately, but in places like in Malaysia, sometimes we have this program of children's program. They are not completely like what we are doing over here, but they have like study. They have like drawing. They have like a camp thing, Then they have some meditation also. So with this, the children over time, when they do these camps and they do some basic meditation, over time you'll find that their mentality is stronger, able to cope with a lot of, suffering that comes in. They are not so easily anger, not so easily burst out. So from young, they begin to able to cope with life in that sense. You give them the opportunity for them to have the condition so that when they grow up, the mind at least is strong to deal with all these ups and downs of life. So the mindfulness can be very helpful. So if you have children, if you have one way or another, if you can help them just to bring in that some degree of mindfulness, that will be very good, will be excellent. Yeah? And that too, I've seen it especially in Asian region. I've seen this thing happening there. Yeah? Okay. One more question before we go. In Vipassana progress, could you elaborate on how the wrong views are eradicated? Wow, there's going to be another retreat to finish this question. How the wrong views are which and how the wrong views are eradicated? I mean, there are different level of wrong views. One wrong view is in your thinking. Second wrong view is in the latent level. The one that you are thinking that means you believe and everything, or on whatever views that you hold on. Then in a way it's a very it means the view has already arisen. Then you have that particular view. Yeah. Now, wrong view on the latent level. These views is where the eradication of defilements take place at the latent level. Now, supposing you do not have wrong view right now, you believe you do not have all this wrong view, and you have proper right views, which is good, let's say, but does not mean at the latent level your wrong view is eradicated yet. That means there are still roots for wrong view to arise, but because you have a thinking a right view there, it suppresses that wrong view from coming up. But does not mean the condition is not there yet. The condition is still there. It's like you like, for example, you go back, you mow your lawn, and you don't want the grass to grow. You put a whole plastic sheet on top of it. No holes, then the grass won't grow. But the seeds are still there. The roots are still there, right? So do the same thing. This when we are not enlightened yet, the wrong view is still latent in us. It doesn't grow because you have right view on top of it. It doesn't grow. But if you have throughout the life, if you somehow or another you mix with the wrong people or whatever, then when the condition is there, then this wrong view will grow up again. That is what we mean by it's still in the latent form. Right now, for example, anger. Let's talk about anger. You're not angry right now, but that does not mean that tomorrow you won't get angry. So the anger that means right now is in the latent form. Now, when eradication of views take place, when the eradication of wrong view take place, it goes up to right at the enlightenment time, at enlightenment there, and something that you chant over there, path and fruition, magga pala. When we start that, idang me silang Nibban, Magga Pala Jnanasa, that Magga Pala, that consciousness itself, the Magga Pala is a consciousness. Those consciousness, those thing is the one that actually do the eradication at that latent level. It really kills it off. It really uproot the whole thing. Then, in future, this wrong view cannot grow again, even though you have condition for it to grow. Even though, let's say, an enlightened person is mixed with the wrong people, then this wrong view cannot grow because the wrong view is already eradicated. So in this vipassana meditation, in the higher development, in the enlightened level, we are removing these latent defilements here. We completely remove it out so that it can never grow again in this life, or in slightly in the future lives. It cannot grow anymore. This is what it meant over here. This is how they are all eradicated. In fact, that all defilements are through the higher development on vipassana, it always eradicated on that latent part. That is what it meant here. Okay, so we stop here for tonight. I could think I got one or two more questions. I don't think I'm able to answer. This one come in very late. This one. Okay. How would you describe or explain what is like to be enlightened? That one tomorrow. Or maybe I won't able to answer you. Anyway, tomorrow afternoon, what time you are coming in back again?